Hello, hello. I am Catherin from Catherin Enlightenment, and we have Natasha Freudenstein from Rainbow Sutra.
Hi.
This is our mystic conversation. And today, doing other things, I had pop into my head the question, what is light work? So I proposed that to Natasha, and she went, "Oh, that's a bit heavy. that's a bit big."
Huge.
Yeah. So what is light work? It is a question that people ask because there's so many people who say, "Oh, I'm a light worker." Well, what is light work? That's the thing. I would say in this moment, I can only come from where I'm at and what I know and so forth. So just take the flags, feels like a guide, and run with them in whatever way that feels right for you. That's how our conversations always are anyways. We're just putting perspectives and thoughts and feelings and spirit channeling out there, because sometimes we get sort of, oh, where did all that come from?
Yeah.
Higher self perspectives. And so this is it. What is light work? So for me, it is this sense of the fact that I am a light being. I didn't come to that initially. It's taken me 12, 13 years to come to this concept, or a while back, that, I'm this light being with a light body, and that I come from the light, and this is what I'm transmitting, and this is what I'm doing. And so there comes this understanding that everything is built from light, and so therefore this is all light work. The entire experience is light work. So again, I suppose it's that sense of, well, what is the point of the light work? To me, it is working with the light. So are you working with your light, or are you diminishing your light? What are you doing to your light? Where is your light? How do you let it come through? How do you lighten yourself up and shine? And this is kind of the pathway I've been following, building that. And you hear of people sort of saying, I'm a light worker. And so they're actually letting the light come through them. It might be more or less an energy style of things that they're operating from. And they're going ahead and doing things with that. Sometimes they don't know what they're doing, but they know they're doing it. Other times they are using those abilities to see the light movement, to see the fractals, to see the glyphs, to see the colors, which is where I tend to follow more this innate intelligence of, peace is a green spectrum and sovereignty is a red spectrum and so forth in my mystic coursework. And it's always been more of a color orientated thing for me. Others may see light in that sense of, okay, there's light and there's sound. For me, it's all encompassing. To me, it has its frequency. So I guess it's semantics. What does that mean? How does it mean? In terms of humans, but light is only what you can see. Well, no, light is what you can feel. That's how I kind of have come to grow into it. What is it you feel? And the feeling of lightness is when you are in alignment with your spirit self, your nature of being a light, being the light, being all weavings of light. You are a creator being who's ever moving, and light never stops moving. So if it stagnates and slows down, then it can become very material and heavy, but it can also become distorted and broken and dark. But everything is still light, regardless of how bright it is or how shaded it is. Those are my thoughts. And you're following the light, just looking at it now, and you can't even stop yourself, can you? It's like, what am I looking at? It's the light.
Literally.
Yeah.
I'm stuck over there.
So that because we've got this concept as humans, and science says, well, light can be seen. I just don't believe that to be true. I feel that light, just like color, is emitting an energy. Sound is emitting an energy. It's all this frequency. So it all comes back to that. Light work is you letting your frequency out, you getting the movement running again, getting to the speed of light so that you can move in an instance to create as well. Like you said, it's a big subject.
It's a huge subject, and it's really interesting because I've never personally used the terminology of called myself a light worker. I've been called a light worker, or I've been told I work with light workers and things like that. I know I work with light, I work with crystalline energies, I work with frequencies. There is light and energy, so you couldn't possibly not be a light worker in the sense of the word, right? But then what even is that? What does it mean? What does it mean to you? And how do you work with that? Well, I don't know. Everybody is so different. And I find that my eyes follow the light, even though I can't see anything specifically that I can say, like I can see Megan sitting here next to me. I'm staring over there for those minutes that she was talking. And in that sense, there's nothing there. There's the shelves, there's the crystals, there's the things. I'm not staring at anything specifically there. But as I'm staring into that space, I do start to see the light around objects and things like that. And it was quite interesting having Megan sitting here and talking through and seeing the reflection on the computer. It was showing up as her hands moved. I saw like kind of a blue kind of light coming through, and I could see her face kind of like she was over here on the screen talking to me from there, even though she's here. So these are just things of how light works, right? It's
bouncing, reflecting, creating, watering. Yeah, the layers of what can be seen and what can't be seen. You know, we see a certain amount of the spectrum, but, you know, we know there's UV light. We know there's, you know, infrared light. And you need certain kinds of goggles and glasses to see a lot of that. What else is there? Infinite ventures to discover. And how does that create our world? What is that doing? How do we move through it? How do we work with light when we allow ourselves to move with it and be in the dimension spaces of time and experience? So yeah,
it is a huge subject. And it's interesting because I was just listening to sing about plants and trees, and they can actually see because of their photosensitivity, and they can remember human faces, and they can see colors and things like that, and remember like what you were wearing and the color you were wearing and things like that. So it's interesting when we think of as human what light and seeing is. We think you need eyes and these brain processes and whatnot, but like trees are light workers, plants are light workers. And so,
well, there's even you know, science stuff about people who are blind and then giving them things that are certain colors and asking them to feel it and say what color it is, and they are able to do so. How it's a sensory thing. There is a feeling and a vibration. They are opening up to other senses that allow them to recognize, oh, this is what the humans call red, you know, and yet they can't see that. They're not seeing it like we're seeing it.
Yeah,
but it still exists. And as far as color goes, it is that what is, you know, absorbed by the light and what is left by the object, how much movement is in the molecules and so forth, as to whether it is kept as a red object or whether it's a blue object. There's light waves, there's all this, it's all frequency, it's all movement. We're part of the movement. So you're part of the light work. Even if you don't know you're being a light worker, you are working the light through your body. And how much more do you want to work it? What do you want to do? It's an intentional thing that your spirit will ask you to do, to wake up to your light and let it shine through you, because it is what creates, it is what puts things together. I'm sure this is a sort of naive way of speaking it, you know what I mean, or immature way of speaking it, because hello, 3D, I don't understand what 5D is going to be like. It's, you know, what is that? What is the capabilities? We're growing into those. That's what the modern mystic is exploring. That's why you've got to have the conversation to even decide that there is something else to explore in here. I'm feeling it, I'm sensing it. I need to open a doorway, and our words carry light. So, you know, by letting the words out, by letting the vibration move through you, you are in that moment shifting molecules around. You're being the light work. You're doing light work, you know.
Yeah.
Just by existing, you are.
You don't have to specifically do anything, but being you in your authentic self is being your light worker, and intentional self just creates more momentum and motion with all of that. Yeah, so it's an interesting, huge kind of topic, as many people have specific kind of definitions of what a light worker is and what it means to be a light worker. Like an energy healer is a light worker and things like that. It's like a yogi is a light worker or whatnot. Other people think that like being a light worker is kind of like an apprentice. So you're still learning to work with the light, but then what are you after that? So there are many possibilities and things like that. We're defining it from where we're at and how we see and feel and be it. And so we're using words because that's what we have for these things. So if the words light worker don't resonate with you, dive into that. Because like I've never called myself a light worker and I don't know why. And then when Megan asked me that question, like, what is a light worker? And I'm like,
and you said, oh, that feels heavy.
That feels heavy. It feels huge.
Like big responsibility. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Where do I fit in that picture? And that's the thing, you won't know where you fit in that picture till you open up and you allow yourself to become part of the universal workings more and more, letting your light flow out of you.
Yeah.
And when you start allowing that free flow, because you've done the work to heal yourself and get all your molecules and bits up and running, switch on your DNA that is the light work capacity, it knows all this stuff. We know this stuff. It's this innate intelligence.
Yeah.
How it truly works, we don't know. I mean, this is part of what quantum physics and mechanics and exploration is about, and the speed of light and breaking up the molecules and what happens with it all. Light is just a terminology for the makeup of us,
frequency, vibration, all that things. And it's interesting because I know in a sense of the work that I do with my remedial massage and the crystalline energies and my fascial release, things like that, working with the fascia especially, those are, seen as being fiber optics for light transmission. And like, I know that, like I say, my eyes follow the light, the energy. I do work with that, but I've never used that term, a light worker, in a sense. So I know that I'm definitely using.
So when you say the fascia, what does that mean? What's that?
So the fascia, there's this layer underneath the muscles and it's all around our organs. It literally holds us together. It's a tissue of collagen and other liquids and things like that. And it works with the muscle and the tissue, and it creates a space for movement and energy to flow through. So often when you go for a massage, they'll work specific muscles, target this area on this muscle. So say you've got biceps over here, but then around that you have the sheath or the fascia underneath the skin. Then you also have the deep fascia as well. So there's different cross lines, and so the cross lines of the fascia that come from the right to the left, and they cross over and they go from the shoulders to the back and then down the legs, things like that. We have the front and the back line of the fascia. All our organs are actually held together with fascia. So you think that our skeleton kind of holds us into place. It kind of like, it gives us the framework, but the fascia actually runs everywhere, in and through underneath our muscles and over our muscles and in between our muscles and through our organs and in between everything. So it's kind of a transmission space and place for anything and everything to kind of flow through.
So
and it's where energy can get stuck. And
I'm seeing you sort of talking about, it kind of is holding all of this together. And then there's this light field, people say, well, I can see your aura and I can see that there's this light field, and then that light goes deeper beyond what we can see in the color or the fractal movement or anything else in our field. There's a deeper version of that again. And you said something about you see it as fiber optics or fiber optics being it transmits the light.
Yeah.
So each fascia layer, be it in our auric field or in our spiritual field where it's deeper, or dimensional fields, it's kind of like, there's this framework that things get built on, and then we each build our own version within that and hold it together as an item that moves. And I'm wondering, okay, so does that mean this table has a light fascia holding it together? I kind of get sort of, maybe.
A version of.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe if it's more of a natural item than a non-natural item, how does that work? What is holding everything together in this soup? I don't know, but light plays a big part of that, and it's the movement of light and the ability to get the speeds up that creates different molecule movements and breaks something down into a gas and a water, or builds it back up into a strong sort of rock formation, breaks it apart so that it can be all put into different variances. Light is key.
It's quite fascinating.
That's a what do you call it? A masseuse joke.
I just made it up. I never heard it before.
Very good. Very good. So yeah, what is a light work? What is light work? It is just you being you, but you can take it to another level. You can go deeper. You can actually go, well, hang on, what else is there? And I can feel into that and sense more of it and raise my vibration, as they say. Well, raising your vibration is all about depth in your fascia, feeling the depths of the different light versions of you and pulling it all together into something more viable, which we would say more viable and more healthy for us would be a fifth dimensional being with all the multi-dimensional connection and our source connection to where light begins, right? Where universal workings are moving things around and you're pulling in with those. So this is about letting yourself have the innate intelligence flow through you, because it already exists. You are a light being before you became matter. And
that's something I know to be true too, as well. You don't have to have science to prove that to me. That's something I just know within myself as well, that we are light, we are the spark, we are the source. And it's interesting that I can say that, but in the term light work, I go, I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of connotations around work, right? Just light true. Being is really it. You're being light being itself, right? But this concept is often asked, when people say I'm a light worker, and then it's like, well, what's a light worker and what is light work?
How do you define that for somebody, especially somebody who's new coming into it? And a lot of people talk about, like, they have their bio or whatnot about, I'm a Reiki healer and a light worker and da-da-da-da-da. Someone who's not heard of the term before, I have no idea what that means. And a lot of people, even when you ask, they can't define what it even means to them as well. It's just a term that's been like bandied around in the spiritual circles for such a long time that it just means a healer a lot of the time. But we're diving deeper into it and broader into it in that
because
as well.
Doing your light work may have nothing to do with healing.
No,
it may just be that you bring a shine and a different perspective, and you create things and do things. In the big long run, a lot of that is healing, but you can also be very creative and very open to letting light work through you in a very subtle and quiet way. And you would never call yourself a light worker because you don't even move in those spiritual circles of where that term comes from.
Exactly what I was about to say. You might just be doing your human job, of 9 to 5, but in reality, this aspect of you is working the light, but your human brain may not even be aware of that. Someone else might see that, the likes of Megan. You step into her world and she can see exactly how you're operating with the light and working with the materials and the tools that you have at your disposal, your human self.
So when you say see, I don't see. I have impressions and knowledge of it. That's me reading the light, but in a way that then comes to my brain. My eyes themselves aren't necessarily in it. However, I have great hope for the fact that over time, we will start to see these other spectrums of light, these other dimensions and other beings who are vibrating at a different mass vibration to create their own form that are there waiting to be seen. But we must raise our vibration. We must open ourselves to the light. And that is a critical decision, even if the human themselves doesn't have that decision. It is a critical decision on the spirit level. But the more you can do your light work is by actually saying, yes, I want to do that on another level too. My human wants to catch up to that and try and understand that, because that's the doorway to letting the light into the physicality. And you might be drawn to something like, okay, I need to up my physical vibration, and I'm feeling drawn to go see Natasha for this myofascia, that's how you say it, isn't it? Experience, which she does as a multidimensional, and she's connecting my light. That's my full spirit self out there waiting to come in, needing a direction through me, needing some sort of way to play and yeah, help out. Sorry, I've got pop-ups. I don't know what that means, but anyway. So yeah, this whole sort of world of experience that we want to dive into, I think light is going to show itself in the scientific worlds in a very different way over time.
Definitely.
And our human version of it will show itself too over time. Yeah, and when you start sneezing, you know there's spiritual dust movement. Oh, hang on, I'm shifting into something, I'm opening to something. We just opened a very dusty door there.
Definitely.
I'm getting it now too.
It's like the light pop-up came and then the stuff.
The light came and tickle. Oh,
yeah.
Your light fingers out of there. Anyway, so but this area of us is so much a portal of light expression. It literally puts bubbles of energy and light and color out there that say, this is what I am and what I would like, and get into the universal workings, and they're part of that ripple effect out there to then come back and have these opportunities and this sort of, oh, how did this come up? Well, you sent out a message. So light is a messenger in some way too. Yeah. You're interacting.
And it's always happening, that's the thing as well. It's always happening regardless of our conscious awareness. It's always just going on. So it's really interesting that it's brought up quite a lot for me, that terminology. Like I've never...
Very simple question of what is light work? And yet you went, ooh, okay. And there possibly, you know, people can go dismiss that word. Oh, light work, stupid word, blah, blah, blah. But hey, if it's popping up in your brain or showing up in your world and somehow you went, oh, I didn't know this. Why do I want to watch this video? What is it? There's something in there that wants to access through you and be awakened and shown to you. Your light is speaking to you in some way, or wanting to speak through you more and opening up, getting that doorway of flow with where it all comes from, which is source. And being a light worker is about doing your light work, right? You need to change up your body to physically take that light in, to express even deeper and even wider, and to discover your superhuman powers and see what they're going to be. You know, if you want to dive in more to that stuff, you need to do your light work. No ifs or buts. You'll be led. It's like, but what is my light work? By asking. You have now opened the doorway. Your spirit will speak to you. It will show you in so many ways. Even if you're not able to hear or see or, you know, do the clairs, there is a psychic experience going on in you, a sensory experience. You just need to get quiet enough to hear it. And all it is open the doorway and say yes to, okay, I want to know what my light work is. How does that work through me? For whatever reason that it takes you. It might take you into a whole different world of experience. It has nothing to do with being spiritual and talking about it, but you went through a phase of doing this to open yourself to that. Or, I don't know. That was a word. I don't know what the or was. Or whatever you're going to discover for yourself. How do I know? I'm not here to do it all for you.
So many possibilities, probabilities. Just open the door and say yes, and all those weird and wonderful experiences and things, just like embrace it all, because use your imagination. Anything is possible, right? Everything is possible.
And it's giving it possibility, it's giving it wings, it's putting light to it when you actually do allow yourself to think about a possible thing, or to let in what seems like a ridiculous image or idea. You may not act it out in the way that your brain says, but the light spoke to you, the spirit spoke to you.
Yeah.
You opened a doorway to something that could be built by light, and it may not look like the way we think it's going to be, but
often it never does.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Part of the mystery and adventure, though, right, for the human.
Yeah, definitely.
Surprise, that's going to happen. Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah. So I guess in that sense, you know, what is light work? Very difficult to define in human terms. Definitely got to ask your spirit for yourself on that one.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely opened up some things for me, and you know, the way that I operate was shown in the very beginning while Megan was talking. I was literally staring at the light and doing my light work, you know, without even actually doing anything but staring into space.
And how often do children do that? You know, stop daydreaming, and yet they're doing light work, trying to, they're open and they're their light being, and then we go and shut that all down. Oh my God, how much does it get shut down?
Yeah.
You know, and controlled and slowed down, and in the name of academic, oh, you're getting smarter. Really? I don't know if that's their innate intelligence playing out. Yeah, we're denying that child their light. So yeah, I could go into another whole subject there, but you know, you get it. Anyways, all right,
beautiful. That's
the mystic conversation. Yeah, what is light work? We've answered that best we can in this moment. So
100%.
I hope that has given you some wider perspectives and deeper dives, and let us know in the comments if there's anything that you felt, thought, or saw in all of that. And subscribe for the vibe. Keep us brave. We'll come back again. And share this with your friends, and share the light, share the vibe. That's the idea, right? Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. See you again.